Paul Foster-Bell.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Sir, I'm going to take a very brief call on this environmental reporting bill in this committee stage debate, just to respond to some things that other members have brought up, but also to make a couple of points, new points of my own. Sir, I'd like to congratulate the Minister for bringing a very important bill, and one that I think has been pointed out in this debate, left us in a position, an anomalous position within the OECD, in not having such a framework in place. So it is a credit to this Minister, Nick Smith, and also to the government that this situation has been remedied. Sir, we've heard suggestions that there may be a lack perhaps of neutrality in the setting of the topics of inquiry for these reports. So I have to rebut some of those suggestions, and in fact the very suggestion that it should be officials who are committing to the expenditure of large amounts of taxpayers' money in commissioning these reports, which I think would be an unfortunate precedent to set. And if we look at other comparable legislation, including that governing public scrutiny of our funds in New Zealand around audit, I think it is best that we have elected representatives of the people making those decisions on where we're investing the large amounts of money that it takes to undertake one of these complex synthesis reports. But I would point out that the legislation makes it very clear the areas which are to be investigated into. These are laid out very clearly in Clause 9 in Part 2 of the bill. These are the domains of air, atmosphere and climate, fresh water, land and the marine domains. These reports will be conducted independently by the Secretary for the Environment and the Government Statistician, two very hard-working public officials, and I'd also like to pay credit to the other public officials who have given much of their time and worked very, very hard on making sure that this legislation is well drafted and effective. Sir, the content of the reports within each of these domains is also governed by this piece of legislation. It will include a commentary on the state of New Zealand's environment as a whole, but also specifically the aspects of biodiversity and ecosystems, the pressures that may be causing or have the potential to cause changes to the state of our environment in New Zealand, the impacts that the state of the environment and changes to the state of the environment may be having on our ecological integrity, public health in our country, the economy, te ao Māori, and I hope my respected colleague Nuk Karako might comment further on that particular area of content, and also the cultural and recreational values that we derive from our environment. So, sir, to me it is very clear that within the bill there is extensive guidance as to the sorts of things that we want reported on, and within those reports, the key critical areas that are significant to us as a country. So I think, sir, there is plenty in there that directs the Secretary and the Government Statistician, the Secretary for the Environment and the Government Statistician, in the right direction when it comes to conducting their investigations. But it is right and proper that an elected representative, the Minister of the Crown, actually sets the specific topics that are pertinent and relevant and topical of the day. Secondly, sir, just responding to the comments from the previous speaker, Sua Williams-Seo, and his amendment set out on SOP number 92. I may well have an answer for his question around what the impacts of on climate change for the Pacific region by activities conducted in New Zealand might be, and that is very, very small, obviously, given we produce less than 1% of greenhouse gases within our country, and the Pacific region is less than 20% of the global region. We can surmise, so that is a very small impact. I think it's far more important that we concentrate on reporting within our own jurisdiction, on making sure that we preserve our natural environment here for the enjoyment of New Zealanders, and that focus should be retained in the bill. And for that reason, I personally, sir, don't support Sua Williams-Seo's SOP number 92. Thank you.
Good speech.